We are counting down 7 Islamic countries where quiet but remarkable waves of conversion to Christianity are unfolding. From nations with nearly impossible restrictions to places experiencing unexpected revival, each spot on our list reveals a unique clash of faith, risk, and resilience. How does underground belief survive when exposure means imprisonment or worse? Let us begin with number 7, where even a handful of secret conversions signals a seismic cultural shift. Saudi Arabia stands as one of the most tightly controlled religious environments on earth. Officially, leaving Islam is considered apostasy, a crime that can bring the death penalty under Saudi law. Despite this, Mission research from 2015 to 2020 estimates tens of thousands of Christians now live inside the kingdom, most as foreign workers from countries such as the Philippines, India, and countries across Africa. Yet, in recent years, a small but growing number of ethnic Saudis have begun to explore Christianity in secret. Digital ministries, satellite television, and Bible apps have become lifelines, especially during late-night hours when curiosity can be pursued behind closed doors. Encrypted messages and anonymous questions to online pastors spike during Ramadan, when spiritual interest peaks and privacy is easier to find. For Saudis, even a private inquiry about Jesus carries enormous risk, including loss of family, livelihood, or even life. In a place where public worship is banned and conversion is forbidden, the quiet courage of these hidden seekers signals a profound undercurrent of change. In Algeria, the Protestant movement has become one of the most visible Christian communities in the Muslim world, especially among the Kabyle Berbers of the north. While most countries in the region keep Christian numbers vague or underground, Algeria stands out for having a nationally recognized Protestant body, the Église Protestante d'Algérie, or EPA. Through the 1990s and the early 2000s, EPA congregations were small and scattered. By the late 2010s, however, evangelical leaders and independent researchers were estimating tens of thousands of Protestant believers, a dramatic rise from just a few thousand a generation earlier. This growth has drawn direct government attention. Starting in 2017, authorities began closing and sealing EPA churches across the country, especially in the Kabylie region. The largest Protestant church in Tizi Ouzou was padlocked by police in 2019, and by early 2024, advocacy groups reported over 40 Protestant churches forcibly shut. Yet these closures have not stopped worship. Instead, many believers shifted into homes, apartments, and small gatherings, creating a network of house churches that continues to meet in secret. For Kabyle Christians, faith and cultural identity are now deeply intertwined, and even as the state tightens restrictions, the movement adapts and endures. After the attempted coup in 2016, Turkey's public debate over religion began to shift in unexpected ways. Surveys by Conda, one of the country's leading pollsters, show a steady drop in the number of Turks describing themselves as religious, falling from more than half the population in 2008 to under half by the mid-2020s. The rise in those identifying as atheist or non-believing, especially among young people in cities, is even more pronounced. Among 18 to 24-year-olds, national studies now find that over 1 in 10 call themselves irreligious or secular, while many more say they are simply secular Muslims. This generational change is often explained as a reaction to the politicization of Islam and the growing power of state religious institutions, especially after the failed coup. But alongside this broader move toward secularism, a small but visible group of Turks has quietly begun to explore Christianity. In the 1960s, foreign missionaries and local converts could count fewer than 200 known Turkish background believers in the entire country. Today, Protestant and evangelical networks, though still tiny compared to the population, report several thousand Turkish Christians, most gathering in discreet fellowships in Istanbul, Izmir, Ankara, and other cities. While exact numbers remain uncertain, church leaders and researchers agree that this is a dramatic proportional rise over the last half-century. For many, the journey starts not with public evangelism, but with private curiosity, reading, questioning, and in some cases, seeking out a faith that feels both new and risky in a society where Turk and Muslim have long been seen as inseparable. Indonesia holds the title of the world's largest Muslim-majority country, yet its census charts a subtle but steady rise in its Christian population. Between 2010 and 2020, official figures show the share of Christians increasing by about 1 percentage point, a small shift on paper, but one that amounts to millions in a nation of over 270 million people. Researchers examining district-level baptism records in Java and Sumatra have noticed that the number of new Christians often outpaces what would be expected from births and migration alone. In some areas, church logs record more baptisms than local birth rates can explain, hinting at conversions happening quietly alongside natural growth. Much of this change is concentrated in mixed religion regions, where interfaith marriages play a role. Often a spouse will choose baptism for family unity, but keep their official religious status unchanged to avoid bureaucratic complications or social backlash. Scholars caution against inflated claims, but even conservative estimates agree that Indonesia's Christian population is growing just a bit faster than demographics predict. This effect, given the country's size, translates into hundreds of thousands of new adherents over a decade. These local surges, though rarely publicized, reveal how even modest percentage changes can reshape the religious landscape of an entire nation. In Iran, the numbers tell a story that official records have long tried to hide. In 2020, a groundbreaking survey by the Gamian Research Group reached tens of thousands of Iranians, both inside the country and abroad. When asked about their beliefs, 1.5% identified as Christian, a figure far above the tiny estimates found in state documents or older Western reports. This single data point, drawn from a broad, anonymized online poll, suggests that hundreds of thousands of Iranians may now quietly follow Jesus, most from Muslim backgrounds. Mission researchers, comparing these results with field reports, believe Iran now hosts one of the largest underground Christian movements in the Muslim world. Conversion in Iran carries severe consequences. Leaving Islam is punishable by prison or even death, and house church leaders have been arrested, interrogated, and in some cases forced to appear on state television to denounce their faith. Yet these televised confessions sometimes have the opposite effect, prompting viewers to question the official narrative and to seek out forbidden answers for themselves. Secret cell networks have grown in cities and villages, connected through trusted friends, encrypted messages, and word of mouth. The Gamian survey stands as the most credible public evidence so far, an unexpected window into a movement that by every legal and social measure is supposed to be impossible. Iran's underground church is not just surviving, It is quietly expanding despite every effort to stamp it out. Afghanistan's Christian community remains one of the smallest and most vulnerable in the world. Before the Taliban return in August 2021, international advocacy groups estimated that between 10,000 and 12,000 Afghan believers practiced their faith in secret. For these men and women, even a whispered prayer or a Bible verse on a phone could mean a death sentence. Most gathered in tiny circles, sometimes just 2 or 3 trusted friends, meeting quietly in homes or moving locations to avoid suspicion. Under Taliban rule, the danger only intensified. Reports from Open Doors and other non-governmental organizations describe how Christian families erased digital traces, destroyed religious materials, and relied on coded messages to stay in touch. During the chaotic days at Kabul airport in August 2021, some Christian converts joined the desperate crowds at Taliban checkpoints, hoping for a chance to escape. Many never made it past the barriers. Others disappeared into safe houses or fled to the countryside, cut off from outside help. Today, almost all Afghan Christians remain underground, their faith a private lifeline in a country where exposure can be fatal. The survival of this small community stands as a quiet testament to resilience and conviction under extreme threat. Pakistan stands apart as the only Muslim-majority country where Christian gatherings regularly fill stadiums and open fields, drawing crowds that organizers claim number in the hundreds of thousands. While official census data from 2023 puts Christians at about 1.3 to 1.4% of the population, roughly 3.3 million people, some independent Christian research pushes that figure closer to 1.8%. In Punjab and Sindh, local ministries report thousands of adult baptisms each year, especially in poorer communities and among those seeking new hope. These numbers come from internal church records and are not tracked by the state, but the visible scale of public worship is hard to ignore. Events like the Lahore prayer festivals have become a symbol of Christian momentum, with multi-day rallies attracting worshippers from across the country. Organizers speak of hundreds of thousands attending over several nights, though official crowd counts are rarely published and independent verification remains difficult. The energy at these gatherings is unmistakable. Songs, testimonies, and prayers echo late into the night, often under tight security. Yet this growth unfolds under the shadow of Pakistan's blasphemy laws. The 2018 acquittal of Asia Bibi, a Christian farm worker who spent 8 years on death row for alleged blasphemy, triggered nationwide protests and exposed the deep fault lines around religious identity. For many Christians, and for Muslims quietly exploring the faith, her story is a warning about the cost of public dissent, even as youth-led digital evangelism spreads new ideas, and ministries claim tens of thousands of new believers annually. The threat of accusation or violence remains ever present. Pakistan's Christian community is now both more visible and more vulnerable than ever, its resilience tested by the very momentum that sets it apart. Across all 7 countries, one pattern stands out. Even strict laws and social risks cannot stop ideas from crossing borders and screens. Faith is adapting, driven by digital connections and quiet resilience. In a changing world, belief finds new pathways, often where it is least expected.